Today I'm installing all of the electrical for my second floor bedroom, bathroom, and closet. Alright guys, today we're going to be working on the electrical. Last time I got all of the plumbing finished up. We got all of the feed lines and drain lines installed. So the basic plan is I'm going to be running 3 circuits. There's going to be one 20 amp circuit for just the bathroom that's going to do the outlets and the lighting in the bathroom. I've got another 20 amp circuit for the bedroom here. Then the third one is going to be a 40 amp circuit, which is actually for my new HVAC system. So I am installing a mini split outside, and then I'm going to have 3 air handlers inside. So this is going to be for 1 up here, and then there's actually be 2 downstairs. As of now, I don't have any type of central AC. And I do have baseboard heaters that I don't really use because I have the wood stove, but this mini split system will provide heat and air conditioning. So it's been a long time coming to have some type of a central AC, so that'll be pretty nice and definitely necessary up here. So first off, I'm going to have to run my new wires from the garage, and that's going to be 2 lines of 12-2 for the 20 amp circuits, and then 1 line of 8-2 for the 40 amp. And so they're going to be coming in roughly around this area. This is where all my other wiring kind of comes in, so it's actually pretty accessible because my loft in the garage is right on the other side of this wall. So we're bringing them in here, and then the 8-2 is likely going to go in this direction somewhere because the condenser for the mini split is going to be outside on the ground somewhere over there. So bring the 8-2 line over there, and then the 2 12-2 lines coming through here. For the bathroom, I'll likely come to the GFCI outlet somewhere in here first, and then I will feed the lights and the fan. So we'll be installing an exhaust fan, probably something similar to downstairs, so it's going to be around this area. And then I'm going to have to run my 4-inch exhaust vent out here and down similarly to, you can see here, I've got one of these is my dryer, the other one is the new exhaust vent from my new bathroom downstairs. So I'm going to bring it out in the soffit in this general area, just like the others. And then as far as the bedroom goes, I don't know exactly what I'm doing with lighting yet. I do know I want plenty of receptacles, so I'll be placing the receptacles first and then start looking at light switches and light fixtures and where I want everything. I probably will put a fan somewhere over here, so I'll prep for that. And then the other part of this, as I mentioned, is the air handlers, so I'm gonna figure out where I want the air handler in this room. Probably somewhere pretty central, like around here. And then the other thing is going downstairs and figuring out where those air handlers go. I know one is going to go over here somewhere because that is the current bedroom downstairs. So I want one in there, and then likely one is pretty close to under my feet here because that's going to be in the living room. And we'll see, I might have to cut some access in the floor here so that I can get to everything, especially for this air handler. The other one over there should be in the section that is already exposed. So there is kind of a lot that goes into the mini split system. I did get kind of a DIY kit, so it has all of the refrigerant lines pre-charged and things like that. So I should be able to figure it out. I do need to get drains for all the air handlers, so I got to figure out where exactly I want to run those as well. But that is the basic plan, so let's get to work. Alright guys, so I wanted to quickly go over the wiring before I cover it all up. We've got pretty much everything done in here. I'll start off with the main room here, the bedroom. So I've got a 20 amp circuit for that. And at first I'm coming in right here. You can't really see, but it came in through the garage over here. This is where all my other wiring comes in. Most of my other wiring, as you can see. So I brought all the new wires in there. So ran it across behind the shower. And then I'm going straight to a receptacle. And for all of the initial wiring and the receptacle wiring, it's all 12-2 because it's a 20 amp circuit. So I've got a receptacle right behind there. You can't see it right now. It goes, then I go over to another receptacle here. I've got one behind here. Sorry, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. There's one. And then I think this is the last one on the circuit right here. So then I'm also bringing power up to the lighting. So I've got this will be a 3-switch box here. So the first one will control the 4 lights that are going to be recessed lighting. You can see I've just got the junction boxes here. So 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. So that's also going to be on a 3-way switch. So I'll have a switch here at the top of the stairs. So when you're coming up in the dark, you have a switch to turn those on. And then I've also got we'll have a switch here for the fan. So I've got my fan here. It'll probably have a light on it too. So probably 2 switches, fan and light. I have that mounted with a fan box. And then as we go into the closet, I'll have another switch right here for the closet lighting. Same sort of thing with the junction boxes. So we've got a box there, and then I have one down here on the angled wall. So I'll have 3 lights in the closet. And then if we look at the other direction, so it splits off of that outlet where it comes in, and then it comes over here. This is going to be where a TV would be, so that's why it's high up on the wall. So I've got the TV, and then I've got another receptacle down here, likely going to have a dresser in this area. As you can see, I added some more blocking in the wall because I don't know exactly where the TV is going to be, so I have some nice solid mounting points. And then I go over here to another receptacle. I've got one here as well. So that's pretty much it for this room. And then if you go into the bathroom, so this is a separate 20 amp circuit. I have the line coming in straight to this receptacle. So this will be a GFCI, and then it goes to the other receptacle. I actually put this one lower so the vanity will end right about here, and I wanted it kind of lower, and that is to code. You can have it up to 12 inches below the countertop. Just so it's not like right in the middle of the wall right here. So I put it low. And then I'm also bringing the power over to the 3-gang box here. So I'll have the first light switch will go to the vanity lighting. So I've got it actually on the angled portion of the wall here and here, centered over the sinks. So kind of an interesting setup to figure out what to do there, but I did find a fixture that should work in this scenario. So it hangs down a little, but it shouldn't be in front of the mirror. And then the last 2 switches will be the light and the fan that goes over the shower. So I've actually got the fan up there, and I've got the ducting partially run. I still have to run it then out to the actual soffit, so it's going to exit the eave, under the eave of the house, just like my others. And then the last thing we just got done was mounting these air handlers for my mini split system. So here is the one for upstairs. As you can see, it's pretty centralized in the room. And so this is an 18K air handler for up here. This is about 450 square feet. That should be plenty, but I did go bigger up here because I know it's going to be harder to cool in the summer because obviously heat rises. So we've got an 18K down here. And then I actually cut up the floor right in this area because below here is where my other air handler is, down in my living room. So that's a 12K. And then the last one I put in my current bedroom back here. Can't see it right now, it's under the pink insulation. So that's another 12K that I put back there. So none of the lines are run yet, but that will be upcoming soon. Waiting for the weather to improve a little bit so I can actually install the condenser outside. So it will be outside on the ground somewhere in this area. So I'll have to run all the refrigerant lines to that one and the other one up here. And then the last one I will have to run under the subfloor, I think this cavity, over to that. And then the last thing with those is I will have to also run the drain So the one over here is the most difficult because it has so far to go. So I'm actually going to run the drain over and then down into the closet of my guest bedroom. And then it's going to run over right into this area because this is where under my stairs have my water heater. And there's a drain in the floor, so I'm going to drain right into that. Then the other two I'm probably going to combine. So I'll bring this one over and down. They are in the same truss cavity there. So I can combine them somewhere in this area and then I'll run it straight outside. The other thing I did is I did run the 8-2 wiring for the condenser. So that's what you see right there. And I actually have a junction box there because I am changing it to an outdoor rated cable that's inside a liquid tight conduit so that it can then go outside. And then outside it has to go to a disconnect box and then it can get to the condenser. So that's all 8-2 and that is a 40 amp circuit. So that is all the wiring, and so next up I can start putting in all the insulation. Alright, so now I'm fully insulated up here. I started with the walls, so all the walls are R19. Started on this back wall, which was kind of annoying just because there's the roof trusses in there. So a lot of weird shapes I had to cut out to make sure that was all nice and sealed up. Went over into the bathroom here, same on that wall. And then I just worked my way around. Initially what I used was this R19 roll insulation. See this pink fiberglass? And that's because my builders actually left this here a lot of extra from when they built my house. So They actually left me a good bit. It was almost enough for all the walls. Then this wall, I did frame up a 16 on center, so I did buy some R19, and these were bats that were already about 94 inches long. So some of them I didn't need to cut, but of course, you know, I've got all these angles going on, so I had to cut all of those. All of the roll R19 was 24 inch because all of my trusses are 24 inch on center. So that was all 24. I had to buy a couple more of those, which are here. And then you can see all the walls I framed were 16. And then that goes all the way down into this shorter portion of the closet. So that is all insulated. And then I moved on to the ceiling. So the ceiling is all R38. And those I bought in bats that were 4 feet long. And where I did frame up here over the stairwell, I also did 24 inch spacing, so it was all the same. So I could use all the same insulation for that. It's pretty nice to work with that it's 4 feet. If it was longer, it would be pretty hard to do overhead. And then as you saw, I installed the pink vents under all the angled portions, and that's so my insulation didn't go the whole way up to the roof. So now I still have a continuous vent from my eaves out there up through to my ridge vent at the top. And so I did that on both sides, and I had to do that all on this angled portion here the whole way down the closet. Overall, the insulation went pretty smoothly. It's kind of annoying just to work with the fiberglass and wearing a mask the whole time, but I'm glad it's done. And almost instantly, once I had it all sealed up, I opened up the stairwell completely here. I did close off the doorway here because that's going to be a custom door I build after drywall. And then the same thing down here, I'm going to have this little tiny door down there. So I sealed those off, and I opened up this stairwell, and almost instantly it really warmed up here. So I don't have my heat on right now. I have it covered up so there's no dust getting in there. But I have my wood stove going downstairs, and I can turn on the heaters downstairs from the mini split. And yeah, the heat comes up here very naturally. And yeah, it's only a few degrees cooler up here than it is downstairs. And now I got a sense more of what the room will look like with the flat ceiling in here and the walls. Because before it was a little more difficult to imagine because you could see out into the attic space and the trusses and up top. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with how it looks. I'm glad it is a full 8 feet up here. Seems plenty high. So that'll be all for today. And next time we're going to hang all the drywall.